The only thing I want to hear is Langston Hughes. Everything else I'm going to mute by clicking that.
The Negro with the trumpet at his lips has dark moons of weariness beneath his eyes, where the smoldering memory of slave ships lays to the crack of whips about his thighs.
So I'm monitoring the audio
The
through
Negro
here,
with the trumpet at his lips has a head of vibrant
I
hair
can see that
down,
the level is
patent leathered
good.
now,
You know, there's nothing
like
tipping
jet,
into the yellow or the red,
crown.
which is good. I'm going to hit the space bar to stop. Space bar will start it up again, as you can see, and
the music from the
space bar to stop. Okay. Now, let's take a look at where some of these files come from. So I have a file called After Effects, and inside After Effects I have some MP3 files that I've downloaded from the internet, specifically from the Internet Archive. You can really get your hands on quite a lot of interesting public domain MP3 files online. So if you're looking for anything, you know, jazz from the 50s or 40s or something like that, you know, or any music really, you know, just do a Google search on whatever it is you're looking for, comma, public domain, and chances are there might be, you know, some sites that you'll be returned that you can search. So as you can see, I'm bringing up the levels here to fill in this part where I've put an opening between the audio here. Now, how do I do that? How was I able to split that audio? So to split the audio track, you simply bring your cursor where you want it in the track, and anytime you want to, you can zoom way in or way out. So if you want to get real specific like that, you can do that. And then you simply come up to Edit, Split. Once you split a track, then you're free to move it around or simply get rid of it if you want to do that. So I'm going to undo that, and I'm also going to undo the split region. But I actually split all of Langston Hughes, all of the audio, so that I could sort of match it and put spaces, match it with certain audio, and then put spaces in between to let certain audio come through, you know, without voice. So let's go ahead and let's now turn on the trumpets, because this poem is very much about the trumpets. So if you look at the two volume tracks here, you'll see that the Thelonious Monk track stays silent for a long time, creeps up a little bit more, and becomes very prominent here. These trumpets actually are what we hear in the beginning, and you can see that audio is you know, ramped up as opposed to that audio there. So let's go ahead and let's play that. Spacebar to play.
The Negro with the trumpet at his lips has dark moons of weariness beneath his eyes, where the smoldering memory of slave ships lays to the crack of whips about his thighs.
Okay, so this gets interesting. So when he talks about slave ships, I thought it would be pretty interesting to see if there's some sound effect that might kind of be like a ship at sea. And sure enough, I found exactly that. So I was able to, under sound effects, I was able to find under transportation, there actually is a file called Ship in Heavy Sea. So I can, you know, just go ahead and listen to that, stop it. But that suited me perfectly. So to work with that in a track, you simply drag that over here into the main timeline and let it go. And then, of course, you make a new track. Let's, again, go ahead and do undo, create. I don't want to do that. But anytime you want to make a new track in GarageBand, you simply, you know, get the thing you want to drop in, whether it's, you know, out on your disk drive or whether it's in GarageBand already, just drag and drop, and that will make a new track for you. Okay, so let's listen to this with the ship now.
Slave ship lays to the crack of whips about his thighs.
All right, and then I started thinking, I thought that crack of whips was pretty powerful, and I wanted to do something with that. I couldn't really find the sound that I wanted within GarageBand. So I went online. I went to, I think it was freesounds.org, and I was able to find this whip cracking sound. So now let's listen to what everything sounds like here.
Is where the smoldering memory of slave ships lays to the crack of whips about his side. The Negro with the trumpet at his lips has a head of vibrant hair tamed down, patent leathered now until it gleams like jet, or jet a crown.
And now I'm ramping up both music files.
The music from the trumpet at his lips is honey
Ramping
mixed
down
with
so
liquid
that
fire.
I can listen to
The
Langston
rhythm
Hughes.
from the trumpet at his lips is ecstasy distilled from old
Starting to
desire.
ramp up again where there's a break. All right. So what I'd like to do, I found a movie track that actually has Miles Davis in it. Let's go and let's see if we can find that. See all of these files here. These are all jazz files that I downloaded. Okay, so here's this file that I found on YouTube.
Music written by Miles Davis.
So this was like,
So what?
it was a real famous song if you're at all familiar with jazz. And this is Miles Davis performing that song. Totally beyond cool. All right, let's just move it up a little bit. And then just some really fantastic close-ups. Let's kind of go through here a little bit. All right, so there's just some really dynamic music happening here. So I thought, I really just want to, these two pieces of media were created around the same time, and I thought it'd be really interesting to put the both of them together and just sort of see what happens.
Music written by Miles Davis. He goes, so what?
Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and let's split that track right here. This is a great place to split. Sorry, gotta do that again. Let's split that track. All right, now I'm going to kill that part of it because that's where that's where the guy's speaking, and I don't really need to hear that. All right, so let's listen.
The Negro with the trumpet at his lips has dark moons of weariness beneath his eyes, where the smoldering memory of slave ships lays to the crack of whips about his side.
So I was really delighted to hear these like trumpets, just, you can see where they are right there on the track, just kind of come up right at the break there, right where the break
Crack
between
of
the
whips
audio
about
is.
his side. The Negro with the trumpet at his lips has a head of vibrant hair tamed down, patent leathered now until it gleams like jet, or jet a crown. The music from the trumpet at his lips.
And again, as you can see, like these trumpets are hitting just almost perfectly. They're really hitting when Langston Hughes is not talking, which is what I want.
Is honey mixed with liquid fire. The rhythm from the trumpet at his lips is ecstasy distilled from old.
So one thing I might do is I might actually move this down just a little bit so that I can sort of get this to be, to have that trumpet beat like right there. So it happens.
Fire. Desire that is longing for the moon, where the moonlight's but a spotlight in his eyes. Desire that is longing for the sea, where the seas are bar glass, sucker size. But softly, as the tune comes from his throat, trouble mellows to a golden note.
Okay, so that would be an excellent place to fade out. So what I'm going to do with with this track, I'm going to go ahead and split it. Oops, sorry. I'm going to go ahead and split that. I have to select it first to split it. I'll split that. And then I'll go ahead for right now and I'll toss that out. Now, the next thing that I will do is I want to do a fade out. So I simply come into track and I do a fade out on that track. Now let's go ahead and listen.
Trouble mellows to a golden note.
Right, pretty cool. All right, I'm pretty darn happy with that. I could add back in now the, what happens if we add the ship in C back in? Let's just kind of see what this feels like with the Miles Davis music and the Langston Hughes. Let's kind of see what this is sounding like now.
The Negro with the trumpet at his lips has dark moons of weariness beneath his eyes, where the smoldering memory of slave ships lays to the crack of whips about his side. The Negro with the trumpet at his lips.
Yeah, I like it. I think it needs to be faded out a little bit sooner. I'm going to pull this over, and I'm going to just kind of bring this down. All right, let's play it again.
Lays to the crack of whips about his side.
Let's listen to make sure that that sound is coming in when we want it
Moons
to.
of weariness beneath his eyes, where the smoldering memory of slave ships lays to the crack of whips about his side.
All right, now I have this whip cracking thing happening here. So let's go ahead and introduce that. And what I want to hear exactly where does Langston Hughes say the sound of whips?
Slave ship lays to the crack of whips about.
Okay, so he's saying whips right there. All right, so what I want to do though is I want to pull this sound effect, which is the whip cracking, over. So now let's play, this thing and see what we have.
Beneath his eyes, where the smoldering memory of slave ships lays to the crack of whips about his side.
Yeah,
The
it's
Negro
pretty
with the
cool.
trumpet.
Now, the next thing I want to do is I've got some hip-hop stuff. I am not like a huge fan of hip-hop, but I'm kind of intrigued by how this is sounding. So again, let's go ahead and let's look at our track volume. Let's put it together first and let's see what it sounds like. All right.
The Negro with the trumpet at his lips has dark moons of weariness beneath his eyes, where the smoldering memory of slave ships lays to the crack of whips about his side.
So I'm going to kind of curve this a little bit. I think adding the hip hop does kind of contemporize it a little bit. So let's check it out. See what we can end up with. Spacebar.
The Negro with the trumpet at his lips has dark moons of weariness beneath his eyes, where the smoldering memory of slave ships lays to the crack of whips about his side. The Negro with the trumpet at his lips has a head of vibrant hair tamed down.
All right, so let's go ahead and just dip this guy back up a little bit.
That is longing for the sea, where the seas are bar glass, sucker side.
Okay, so now I have the movie sound. And then the last thing I want to do is I also then want to split the hip-hop sound. And then that way I can get rid of that. And now when I do the share export song to disk, I get MP3 encoder. Yes. Export. Yes. After Effects and Langston, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to save that puppy. Yahoo! Now I have an MP3 file that I can take into After Effects and do something pretty interesting and fun with it. Thank you very much.